All right, guys, good morning. We're looking at the self-assessment day 7 of IM1. Okay, so this is a little bit different than some of the stuff that you may have seen before. We're looking at inductive and deductive reasoning. Okay, now this is going to set us up for some proofs that you guys are going to see down the line at some point in IM2. And proofs are based around theory and logic and kind of arguing your reasoning and supporting it with facts, okay, or patterns that you've seen. So you learned today that inductive reasoning was based on the observation of a pattern. It's based around a pattern, okay? And deductive reasoning is this like established rule, okay? It's something that has been established throughout time, okay? So for number 1, at the first track meet of the year, Abraham and Phoenix and Carly all tied for first place. In the last track meet of the year, Abraham finished well ahead of Phoenix and Carly. You conclude that Abraham must have trained the hardest. Okay, now this is based on observation. There's no proven fact behind this. You didn't watch Abraham train any harder. This is just based on your observation of the first track meet and the last track meet. Okay, this is an example of inductive reasoning. Okay, now make sure that you hit that why as well. And again, when you're explaining this, just say, okay, well, this is based on a pattern. There's nothing that is like set in stone, a rule that is establishing this. This is based on the pattern that we observed at the beginning of the year, and then again at the end of the year. Okay. Now, number 2. We have this list of numbers 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. Okay, now there's not necessarily an established rule here either. We can look for a pattern here to help us get the next maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers in the sequence. And you guys may have found a pattern. Okay, but there are different patterns here and we may be seeing different things. So there's no established rule here. We can guess what those next numbers are going to be based on the patterns that we have picked up prior in that set of numbers. Okay, so once again, this is going to be inductive reasoning. Okay, and our reasoning here, why? Because again, we're looking at previous numbers in this list of numbers to help us develop a pattern to establish what the future numbers are going to be. Okay, next, number 3. For the past 3 Fridays, Panther Patio was playing music at lunch. Dom concludes that this Friday at lunch, music will be playing at Panther Patio. Okay, once again, this is going to be inductive. Your reasoning for why is this is not a set rule. Again, this is a pattern that we have observed over the past 3 Fridays. Music is played on Friday. Music is played on Friday. Music is played on Friday. So, okay, it's Friday tomorrow. I think that there's going to be music playing. Okay, once again, this is based on a pattern that's observed, inductive reasoning. Okay, number 4, the San Francisco Giants won the World Series in 2010. They won again in 2012. They won again in 2014. You may have heard people out there saying, oh, it's an even year. They're going to win this year. Okay, that was, again, based on a pattern observed. They had won the 3 previous even years, okay, but there was no rule, nothing that was like set for certain that they were going to win again in 2016. Okay, so once again, inductive reasoning. Okay, for number 5, we have another pattern here. Okay, with some pictures, right? This is a pictorial representation, and we're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Okay, so once again, this is a pattern. Okay, there's no rule established here. This is inductive reasoning. Once again, it looks like we're adding 1, turning it on its side, adding 1 more, turning it back horizontally, adding 1, turning it back vertically. Okay, but to establish what's going to be in the future images, the future pictures, we're basing it on a pattern that we've observed the previous 4. Okay, now number 6, it's where things turn a little bit. So we have angle C and angle D are vertical angles. Therefore, C must be congruent to D. Okay, now this is what's known as the vertical angles theorem. The vertical angles theorem says that when 2 lines intersect, vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so this is going to be deductive reasoning because that is a theory, that is a rule that has been established. Okay, there's no way to disprove this. Angle C will always be congruent to angle D if C and D are vertical angles. Okay, so that's your first example there of deductive reasoning. Okay, number 7, all cookies are made with sugar. Okay, that right there, that's a rule. Okay, that's a set rule right there. All cookies are made with sugar. Oreos are a cookie, so McKenna knows Oreos are made with sugar. Okay, this is deductive reasoning. Okay, whenever there's like a rule established, I think earlier in the notes today that you guys learned, it said Jaden missed football practice. When you miss football practice, you're suspended from the team or you're kicked off the team. That's like a rule, right? That's been established for that team. Okay, now when that happens, you're kicked off the team. That's a rule. That's going to be deductive reasoning. Same thing happening here. All cookies are made with sugar, rule established. Oreos are a cookie, therefore Oreos are made with sugar. So deductive. It snows when the temperature is below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Set rule. Boom. There it is. This is going to be deductive. The temperature is 35 degrees Fahrenheit. Therefore, it is not snowing. Okay? Deductive reasoning. Based on this fact that, well, water freezes below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, right? So with that rule set in stone, we can say that that's deductive reasoning. Okay, line AB and line CD intersect at point P. Therefore, A, B, C, and D are not collinear. Okay, well, if two lines intersect at a single point, right? I mean, you can draw a picture of this too if you want. We've been talking about intersecting lines here. Okay, so we have points. We have point P where line A, B, and C, D intersect. So it's going to look something like that. Okay, now we've been talking about collinear and non-collinear. Points A, B, C, and D are non-collinear, meaning you cannot put a single line through the points A, B, C, and D. That cannot be disproven. Okay, so once again, this is deductive reasoning. Okay, that is a rule that cannot be bent, I guess, right? You're not bending any lines here. All right, so this is deductive reasoning. It cannot be disproved. Okay. Finally, number 10, since all squares are rectangles and all rectangles have 4 sides, all squares have 4 sides. Well, again, this is this reasoning here, and you can try to disprove this if you want, but there's no way that this can be disproven. Okay, therefore, this is also deductive reasoning. Okay, good job, guys.